Well, I'm going to do the trusses today. At least wise I'm going to get started on it. You notice what I did is I put a temporary stick in the middle on each side. Now the reason for these temporary sticks is so that I can get my pitch, and it'll also hold the truss from falling over when it's nailed in. These are temporary, of course. What I have to do is figure out the angle. Now, as I had mentioned, I had to buy some 2x4s, full length, and I did that. I bought 7 of them. There's going to be 7 joists up there. I couldn't get the 48-inch ones, the 51-cent ones, they just didn't have them, so I have to use 8-foot 2x4s, and I'll just cut them. So 1 2x4, 8-footer will do each truss. Okay, coming over here, we'll figure 40 inches over, so that'll give me about a 3-inch overhang, 2.5 to 3-inch overhang. Time I get to cutting the angle over here. And I guess that the pitch, I don't know what the angle is yet. Once I get the wood cut, then I can take and measure the angle. If you look at other woodworking instructional videos, which this is not, by the way, the way I'm doing it is a half-ass shoemaker's way of doing it, so to speak. My father used to use the term shoemaker. Why, I don't know, but anyways. I can't figure angles. I never could. So the only way I'm able to do angles is to lay them on the side and draw the line and then cut from there. If I take and try to do it on the bench with the square and everything else and try to do the angles, they never come out right. And I end up wasting more wood that way. Man, this wood is light. It's supposed to be Douglas fir, but man, it's light, like almost like pine. I mean, this stuff here that I got, well, this is pressure treated here, but this stuff here is a lot heavier in weight. I mean, this is like nothing. It's lightweight. I noticed some of the wood in the Douglas fir pile, a 2x4 pile at Home Depot, some of them were heavier than others. I think they probably mix them up in there. I don't know. They have the lighter weight ones for about 2 or 3 cents cheaper per 8-foot piece. I pick out the Douglas fir, but I'll tell you, that don't feel like no Douglas fir to me. Alright, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hold this, get the angle, clamp this end over here, and get the angle and do the bird's mouth over here. And as you can see, there's an overhang, and that's all I want, is just a little bit of an overhang. And then I'll cut that at a proper angle after it's all ready to be put into place. Over here I still have to make the support for the middle here, but I want to get the trusses made and make sure that when I do the bird's mouth on this one and get it all made, that I'll use that as a sample and check it all the way down the line. Now there's only about a 1/4 inch space between difference I should say between this run and this run. No matter how careful I measure, it never comes out perfectly. That's why I'm no carpenter. But if I have to, we'll adjust the bird's mouth as I go along, because the angle will still be the same. So if I have to adjust it as I go down the line here, I'll do it. Just remember, this is the old goat's way of doing things. It may not be the right way, but it's the only way I know how to do it. As you can see, we want this 2x4 here to be sitting on the full width of this 2x4. So this is where we're going to be measuring for our bird's mouth right here. And instead of using that other piece here for a template, we're just going to cut the other 2x4 after we do the cut here and go out there. But it's not going to go into the roof. It's not going to blend into the roof as far as I want it to be. Not unless I went and bought another 7 8-foot 2x4s to do that. So we're not going to do that. We're going to add extensions on these at that end when the time comes, and that'll probably be in the springtime. Okay, I hope this camera's in focus. We're doing the drawing for the bird's mouth. And this is the brook side. You have to mark these things because otherwise I screw up. Now I'm going to cut out the bird's mouth, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do this. I can temporarily do this, but I got to estimate the middle of this. As I told you, this is the old goat's way of doing it. I can't just lay this thing out on the table and start doing angles. It will screw up, and then I'll be wasting wood, and I have to go out and buy more wood, and I can't afford that. Basically, when I do a project, I like to share it with everyone. And it's basically geared to those of you who have little or no experience with doing projects such as what I'm doing. Naturally, if you're a carpenter, you'll be laughing at me. Well, hey, this is not meant for you guys. This is meant for the ones that have little or no experience with doing any of these things and may want to build their own sheds or do some kind of a woodworking project. Well, it's very difficult to do this, but as I can see, it looks like a 5-degree angle. If you look straight on the sides of that wood, let's bring it up here. 5 or 6 degrees. It's very, very hard to measure. I got the clamp in the way and everything. As I said, this is a shoemaker's way of working. Okay, we're going to commence to cut the bird's mouth now. Remember, this is the first time I've ever done that. Never made a bird's mouth before. I always used to just lay the 2x4s right on top of the headers. I get my glasses. Okay, because you can't cut all the way to the line here, we have to do it by hand, and I think we're going to have to use the other saw because of this. So let's just see what we got here. Mickey Mouse. You don't have the right equipment to work with. Jobs turn out half-ass. Story of my life. Now I got to get my other saw. Saw. I picked this up at a yard sale a couple of 3 years ago. It enables me to get right in there. Nope. Taking off anyways. Nobody said I was a professional. I never claimed to be. You ain't gonna learn anything from me. Except how to screw jobs up. Okay, it came out to be an 8-degree angle. Now, I moved it over just a little bit over here, so if I screw up, I won't be losing wood. As a matter of fact, when I cut this, I'm going to cut it over to here. It's better to have it a little long than to have it too short. You can't add wood to it, you know. All right, we're going to cut it. Alright, here's your bird's mouth sitting right on the 2x4. Here's the line that I drew. Okay, now we're going to take this piece and see what she looks like over here. I may have to make a different dimension for this. I don't know. Okay, taking this same piece that I had over here, because I only cut the one so far, taking its bird's mouth and putting it in here, leveled out. She hits the line, but this has got to be cut back about a blade thickness shorter than that one. It's getting to be rocket science, isn't it? Turns out it's a 10-degree angle. That's why when I'm holding it up there and trying to get the angle, this is why I did what I did. This is a 10-degree angle. So we're going to change that. That little bit, you know, makes a difference. Now we're right on the line. If we screwed up this time, we're just going to have to mate the other one to that, whether it's 10 degrees or not. The bird's mouth. Okay, so we got the bird's mouth and we've got the angle, same as this. So this goes to the book side, although if they're equal, it doesn't really matter. And there's a 10-degree angle here. So I'm going to cut that. Shift this all over to this side here. Glasses on, I can't see everything. At a blade's width longer, we can always trim it down. It has to be a blade's width shorter, but we're going longer because you can always cut off. You can't add on. That'll be. That's the way she goes. And when the bird's mouth is cut off on that end, we'll make a gusset plate to mount these. I could go and buy those metal things, but they're $1, $2 a piece. And that adds up when you got to do 7 of these things. Remember, the old goat does things the poor man's way. It may not be the right way. It's my shed. You don't have to live in it, and neither do I. But get this bird's mouth cut out, and you've seen me do that before, so we won't waste video doing that again. Okay, I don't dare cut any more off of this, so I'm going to put a temporary piece of wood in there with number 4 nails so I can pull it out quick. Temporary gusset, just to hold this thing together so I can take and bring it up there and see if it lines up with the bird's nest. Bird's mouth, I'm sorry. Crooked nails, going out, brand new nails in a bent. This is only a temporary piece, just to hold things. Holding things together. Just cutting a little off the end there on the bird's mouth. cut too much. About a 1/4 inch out of it. See how that is. Well, we'll cut that, and we'll use that as a template for the rest of it. As long as the rest of this isn't off. If it is, we'll just trim the end of the bird's mouth. That's all. She fits in good over there. Well, never gonna get perfection, never. But I could probably cut a little out of this corner here, see if I can get it to drop down a little bit more. Cut out that notch a little bit more on the very edge so that this thing will drop down, and then I'm gonna take this and see how she fits down along the line here. Most likely it'll have to be, the next one will have to be adjusted, so forth. But the hardest is making the first one. And then we'll put a proper piece of plywood in there, a gusset plate. It's a matter of finding the plywood to do that, because I don't have any plywood for the roof yet. Because the extra was going to be used for that, because it's not 48 inches from the peak down to the edge. It's only 40 inches. Over here I wanted to go into the roof, and I'm still going to do that, but I'm going to have to add to this to go down and then taper it into the roof. But it doesn't have to be done now, because you know it's still February, and the main thing is I get this frame in. I don't even plan on putting plywood up here yet, because if I do, I got to protect it with rolled roofing. Probably fit 30-pound felt. That's all we're doing today. I'm putting tools away now.